Good afternoon, and this is Charmian. Welcome to my channel. Today, I'm going to be discussing with you and sharing aspects of my life as a social worker and how it has impacted my decisions, my path, my journey in my life, and how it has created this awakening for me and how it has transformed me completely into the person I am today. And not just through my career as a social worker, but just as a human being, not just my work that I've done, but sharing with you my life and my passion, my life experiences just as a human being, and all those things that have occurred in my life. I believe that I have been led. No, I'm not going to say I believe. I know that I have been led to share my story. And I believe that in sharing my story, it will provide enlightenment for others who may have perhaps the same feelings. Perhaps it will help those that may have blockages in your life. I know that I went through a 10-year cycle that started in 2009 and finally came to an end in February for me. Actually, this cycle ended in probably more like, no, February, March. And I know when the cycle began, but I didn't realize it was a cycle until the end of the cycle. It's a spiritual walk, spiritual journey. And in that journey, I learned so much about myself and people around me. And a lot of times when we're going through, we don't realize we're going through because it's normal life for us. But when God is taking you through, He's building you up for something great. And a lot of times we don't realize, you're not realizing what that is. You're not realizing what God is preparing you for. So you don't realize that you're in the process. You're in the womb. The amazing thing is that God is with you through the entire process, grooming you, changing you, making you into what He has prepared you, what He has destined you to be from the time before you were conceived. And it's a miraculous thing to happen. When I think back on my life and all of my experiences that I had a lot of doubt and self-blaming and a lot of shame that I felt because of my experiences growing up. Getting into my career was something that I did because I always had a great love for helping those in need. But what propelled me into my career is what I experienced in my childhood, which was hurt, abandonment, sexual abuse, a lot of insecurity of not knowing when love was going to be there, a lot of lost love, a lot of not a lot of loneliness because I was an only child, but abandonment because I didn't have family, didn't have a sense of belonging, and wanted to belong, but didn't know where I belonged. And that, and then all those mixed feelings that I had. So that put me in a sense of being out here, helping people to let them know that they were cared for, that they were loved, that they belonged. And that's where all of my drive came from in helping people, because I wanted others to know, even though I had a deep, deep sense of feeling not loved, not cared for, not belonging. I wanted others to know, and that's what really drove me in doing my work. I wanted others to know that they were loved. I wanted others to know that they were cared for. I wanted others to know, I wanted others to feel secure no matter what. I wanted them to have that sense that somebody out here cared. And that's how I gave. Social workers are first responders, just like police officers, firemen, even doctors and nurses. And as we see with this pandemic going on, we see a lot of people that are hurt and that are in pain, and because of they're experiencing a loss. Who else is on the front lines, especially when we have a number of families who are now that were already having probably family issues going on. They probably are at a heightened sense at this point because they're locked in. Social workers are the ones out there that have to respond to that. Social workers are the ones that are going to have to help these families go through their trauma that they are currently experiencing. I've been a social worker for over 21 years and working at the capacity of how I gave myself to those that were in need. I try to help heal a lot of families that were hurting because I lent myself in a very compassionate way to those, and I allowed myself to really feel their pain. When you're going into people's homes, their intimate places, you first have to humble yourself and go in knowing that this is their place, this is their space, and they own it. That's where the humbleness comes in. And in order to heal families, you first have to understand that joining with them is allowing them to vent, being there honestly and sincerely willing to listen, to hear, sincerely hear their pain. And a lot of times their pain is coming from a place from the past. And that's what I realized, that a lot of people are hurting from past pain. It's not recent pain. It's pain from long ago. That's why it takes people a long time to change. And when you're working in a system so far, such as the welfare system, and how I worked with families, court systems, when a family comes into the court system and it's child issues with family and stuff like that, they're looking for the magic, hey, get right. Families can't get right overnight because there are issues that are going on with families that have been there through cycles. People have to learn or go through a cycle for a period of time. And that's something I've learned myself. And being real with people is being real with ourselves and knowing that as a human being, we're going through our own stuff. And it takes us even being real to know that when we're going through our own stuff, do we change right away? Nope. It takes time. So why would we put unrealistic measures on other humans when it takes time? True understanding, real healing, real healing. And that's what we don't offer is people time to heal and realistic measures of healing pain, true trauma of pain. And that takes time. Some people don't want to revisit those horrible things that may have happened. That means being real. It's hard. So that takes time talking about it, identifying it, addressing it, and getting it out there. So they may drink it away, they may smoke it away, sex it away, ignore it, run away. Whatever they may do to get it out of their heads, they're not going to address it because they're not ready. It's painful. Have you ever dealt with something that was too painful to deal with? That hurt? It's deep-rooted pain. Yeah, I have. Has to be better alternatives. So what's the alternative? So what I'm doing now, just as a human being, I'm not necessarily here to talk about being a social worker or what I experienced as a social worker. I'm here to talk about me and my life and just what I experienced and how I've healed and how I'm healing, because I have experienced things that were truly painful that maybe some of my closest friends, family don't know about, but I have experienced. But through this time that I've had to truly heal, I'm healing and I'm becoming better and I'm experiencing true joy and happiness.